Originally released in 2009, Borderlands helped spark an interest in the open-world looter-shooter genre. One could argue that it led to the foundation for games like Destiny and Anthem to exist, for better and for worse. The series has seen releases on just about everything imaginable from PS3 360 to PS4 and Xbox One, and even the PlayStation Vita. Now the series finally makes its way over to a Nintendo platform with the release of Borderlands Legendary Collection on Nintendo Switch. Borderlands Legendary Collection packs in Borderlands 1, Borderlands 2, and Borderlands The Pre-Sequel, including all the DLC for the three titles, although the last piece of Borderlands 2 DLC is seemingly missing. Titled Commander Lilith and the Fight for Sanctuary, it's a piece of DLC connecting Borderlands 2 and 3 together, and considering Borderlands 3 isn't coming to Switch anytime soon, it makes sense to not include that piece of content. Altogether, this package takes up about 35GB of storage, so you're going to want to invest in a microSD card of some size if you plan on going digital with this title. The trade-off of its size is over 200 hours of looter-shooter fun either alone, together, or online. Each title feels somewhat familiar to each other as each new sequel built on the foundation of the previous one. Additionally, Borderlands 1 for example is based on the Game of the Year edition that backported features from the sequel back to the original game like a minimap. Ultimately, this collection features the full-fledged first three game experiences both at home and on the go. Borderlands 1 takes place on the planet Pandora, a said-to-be mystical planet filled with precious and sought-after minerals. As with all opportunities to get rich, the wealthy quickly jumped on the chance to mine the planet, only to find out that the whole thing was a lie. The colonizing ships ditched the planet, leaving a lot of their crews behind. However, Pandora did turn out to be rich in something: alien artifacts that led to the unearthly treasures of wealth and fortune. The setting provided a unique backdrop of complete mayhem and fun that sparks a unique sense of humor in its writing. Its humor is most certainly going to be the most diverse part of the writing for all three games in this collection. For most that aren't familiar with Borderlands, I'd compare it to something like Wheatley from Portal 2, although way more obnoxious and filled with the internet culture cringe humor. If that's your cup of tea, then you'll be sure to be laughing throughout Borderlands' story. I know I did when I played it in high school. Now as an adult, I still find myself chuckling a few times at the humor, but the jokes certainly don't hit as hard for me. Being the first game in the series, Borderlands' classic looter-shooter gameplay here feels nostalgic, but also somewhat basic at least when compared to the rest of the series. This laid the foundation for the series, but the number of guns available and level structures is somewhat simplified when compared to what would come later in the series. At the start of your adventure, you're tasked with selecting your Vault Hunter, your choice of some pre-packaged classes, each with their own playstyle and special ability. The variety of classes add replay value to each title, letting me mess around with the different playstyles per campaign. Furthermore, the online co-op and split-screen co-op play great with these class differences, as a friend can play as a different class. It adds a layer of strategy such as learning how to best complement your teammates' playstyle with your own. When it comes to performance, Borderlands 1 runs at a dynamic 900p to 1080p resolution in dock mode. That gets dropped down to 720p in portable mode, maxing out the Switch's built-in display. Thankfully, framerate drops were scarce, with the framerate seemingly looking close to a near-lock 30fps at all times. Taking place 5 years after the first game, Borderlands 2 does what any sequel aims to do: improve upon the original by fleshing out all the aspects that made it great. That means level design doesn't feel as empty or linear as the original game. A wider variety of weapons are available with different stats, leading to players hoping that the RNG gods are in their favor. Even the writing is some of the series' best, with Jack being one of the best villains in video games. He rules over Pandora with an iron fist, and the rumor of an even bigger vault on Pandora leads many to believe that the dangers of finding it are worth the freedom. Some of the jokes throughout the campaign haven't aged as well, with it being a relic of the internet humor in 2012. Much like the gameplay in Borderlands 1 now being played in 2020, you can see remnants of the humor's appeal, like you would the gameplay, but it doesn't hit as well as it used to. That aside, Borderlands 2 is a golden class example of a great narrative-driven looter-shooter, even when it fails to make me laugh at times. When it comes to performance, Borderlands 2 runs at a dynamic 1080p resolution in dock mode and 720p in portable mode. Framerate dips were close to none, with Borderlands' art style translating well onto the Switch. Of course, drawbacks had to be made to run on the portable console, but the level to which they went is well hidden because of the art style. If this name wasn't confusing enough, Borderlands The Pre-Sequel is the sequel to Borderlands 1 but the prequel to Borderlands 2. It feels like an expansion to Borderlands 2 in the sense that it plays eerily similar to it, although since it takes place on Pandora's moon, the movement has been slightly altered. Jumping feels floaty with a new sense of gravity on the moon. Luckily, it also brings new abilities like thrusting downward while mid-air, letting you land some damage while platforming. It's this title that benefits the most from the previous installments, taking the best aspects of both of the first games while introducing some new mechanics through the setting for the sake of something new. What it does correctly is flesh out the character of Jack, who ended up being a fan favorite with Borderlands 2. The pre-sequel helps tell you how he came to power while humanizing him a bit, more as a person than just an iron fist. The Borderlands series is arguably the best at what it helped found, the looter-shooter gameplay genre. Across these 3 entries in the series, I found its writing to be partially humorous while the gameplay felt as great as ever. I'm happy to see the presentation and performance hold up to snuff, especially after seeing how the series ran on PlayStation Vita. Now having the series on Nintendo Switch allows for seamless portability of taking on quests anywhere I'd like, while still having the full-fledged console experience when I dock the console. Replaying through these, including online with my girlfriend, was a blast, and it goes to show how well its gameplay has aged in over a decade. While I can't say the writing has entirely done the same, I don't think it dwindles a revisit, especially if you have friends to play with. Just keep in mind the age of these games and how much of a premium you're paying to play this on Nintendo Switch. If you think it's worth it, then go ahead and pick it up, and if you've never played these games and you really want to play them on the go, then it's probably worth an investment.